What's good, Phantom friends? Welcome back. As some of you may recall, a while back I did a very special video where I read Phantom of the Opera fan fiction generated by an AI called Infrkit. We had a hell of a time with that, to say the very least, and you guys loved it and have asked for more, and ask and you shall receive. I had an amazing time with that, and I can't wait to do it again. This time, however, it's going to be a little bit different. So, this time, we decided we were going to go with some higher quality AI and actually use ChatGPT to generate these stories for us. And all of these stories have been oh so kindly curated by our wonderful
Lord Guru,
my lovely boyfriend. He took the time to give us the ridiculousness that is about to follow. Unfortunately, ChatGPT is not capable of generating spicy phantom stories, but oh dear, can it generate some ridiculous phantom stories? And that is what we're going to focus on today. Alright, let's go. In this reimagining of the Phantom of the Opera, the setting shifts to the bleak corridors of the Grand Opera House in Soviet Russia during the late 1920s, at the height of Stalin's regime. The story reflects the oppressive atmosphere of the time, with fear, surveillance, and loyalty to the state replacing the Parisian glamour. This is called Phantom of the Kremlin. Oh dear God. The imposing Bolshoi theater in Moscow had become a pillar of the Soviet culture, but it is a shadow of its former self. Once filled with the rich, now the seats were reserved for party elites and state officials. The theater is in decline, much like the old Tsarist culture it once represented. However, it is said that the building holds secrets beneath its stage, where the legacy of the old regime lurks in the form of a disfigured genius. An embittered composer hiding in the catacombs of the theater, known only as the Phantom. Eric the Phantom was once a celebrated composer under the Tsar, but the revolution stripped him of his status, leaving him a ghostly figure both in the world of music and the political system. He was tortured by the state for subversive music and now lives in exile, haunting the theater, plotting his revenge on the officials who desecrate art in the name of the Soviet regime. Christine Daae, in this version, is not an ingenue from a small village, but a working-class woman who rises to fame in Soviet Moscow. With her angelic voice, she embodies the new ideal of the people's artist. Her family, fervent supporters of the revolution, sees Christine as their ticket to serving the party through art. She becomes the centerpiece of a new production, carefully curated by party officials to reflect the glory of the proletariat. The Phantom becomes entranced by Christine, seeing her in a rare purity of voice and emotion, unsullied by the political propaganda that infects every performance. He begins sending her letters and music, convincing her that it is her duty to bring back the true, untainted beauty of art. Act 3, Comrade Raoul and the Stain. Comrade Raoul! Raoul, in this version, is a high-ranking Soviet officer who was tasked with overseeing the operations of the Bolshoi. He is loyal to the regime, but also still in love with Christine. He sees her success as a victory for the revolution, but is unaware of her secret connection with the Phantom. As tensions between the old and new orders mount, the Phantom sabotages the carefully orchestrated propaganda performances, inserting his own subversive music into its productions. The audience is bewildered, unsure if they should cheer or report the strange occurrences to the NKVD. Raoul becomes increasingly suspicious of the disturbances and begins to investigate rumors of the Phantom's existence. The regime starts to believe that there may be counter-revolutionary elements hidden in the bowels of the theater. The final act sees a clash of ideologies. Christine is torn between Raoul's love and his loyalty to the state, and the Phantom's desire for her to be the savior of art. The opera house becomes a battleground. The Phantom kidnaps Christine, taking her deep into the catacombs, which he has turned into a subterranean sanctuary of forgotten Tsarist art, paintings, and music banned by the Soviet authorities. Raoul leads the NKVD in a manhunt to capture the Phantom. They storm the catacombs, but Christine is faced with a choice: betray the Phantom and secure her future in the Soviet world, or flee with him into the shadows and keep the flame of true art alive. As the NKVD closes in, the Phantom begs Christine to stay, but she hesitates, knowing that her decision will shape the future of art in Soviet Russia. In a final dramatic moment, the Phantom chooses to sacrifice himself, disappearing into a labyrinth of tunnels, leaving Christine to sing his final composition, a haunting, forbidden melody that echoes through the halls of the Bolshoi. The opera ends with Christine on stage, singing a song that will either become a symbol of resistance or be erased from history by the state. I feel like that one got a little too real. Oh my god, like, I actually wouldn't mind seeing that become a thing. I'm usually very against resetting Phantom into a different, like, time period or whatever. But I actually really like this concept. Oh, they should have had Raoul be part of the KGB. Oh, man. Phantom of the Bolshevik Revolution. Alright. Here we go. This one doesn't have a name, so we'll come up with one. In the Grand Opera House, nestled deep in a forest, there was a legend about a mysterious figure known only as the Phantom. But the Phantom was not a man nor a ghost, but a shy, reclusive creature. A squirrel! Named Eric! Eric was no ordinary squirrel. He was elegant, with sleek fur and a mask that covered a scarred part of his face. He moved silently through the trees, his presence felt but never seen. In this magical forest, music thrived. Birds sang melodies, and leaves ruffled in harmonious whispers. And deep within the opera house, a little squirrel named Christine. Oh my god, I can't breathe. Captured the hearts of all who heard her sing. Christine was unique. She had 3 legs! Oh my god! Oh, I'm so glad Oh, waterproof eye makeup, don't let me down. Oh. Oh, I'm crying. I'm literally crying. Oh my god. Okay. We can get through this. We can. Oh, god. She had 3 legs, but that never slowed her down. Her voice was enchanting, and the forest animals gathered every evening to hear her perform. Eric, the Phantom, had watched Christine from afar, mesmerized by her voice. He admired her courage and grace, seeing beyond her physical differences to the beauty she radiated. Hidden in the shadows, Eric composed songs for her, melodies that only he knew would bring out the full power of her voice. One moonlit night, Christine sat alone by a grand oak tree, her soft voice blending with the night air. Suddenly, a new melody drifted on the breeze, a haunting tune that made her heart flutter. She followed the sound deeper into the forest until she arrived at an old, forgotten part of the opera house, where no one ever dared to go. I still can't get over this forest opera house. Can I perform there? That sounds badass. There, sitting in an ancient moss-covered piano, was Eric. His paws moved gracefully across the keys as he played, the mask hiding the sorrow in his eyes. Startled but curious, Christine approached cautiously. "Who are you?" Christine asked, in her voice trembling slightly. "I am the Phantom," Eric replied, his voice soft, filled with melancholy. "I have watched you, Christine. Your voice is the most beautiful thing I have ever heard." Christine was taken aback, but something about Eric's sadness called to her. She didn't flinch or run. Instead, she asked, "Why do you hide?" Eric hesitated. "I was once part of this forest, but my appearance frightens others. I have lived in the shadows ever since. But your voice, your spirit, has brought me hope." This is being written like so seriously, as if we're supposed to not think about the fact that these are squirrels. Remember, guys, these are squirrels talking. Magical musical squirrels. Christine tilted her head, her 3 legs making her stance slightly uneven. But her heart was steady. "I don't care about what you look like. I care about the music. Will you teach me?" Surprised, Eric agreed. Night after night, the two practiced in secret. Eric taught Christine melodies that echoed through the trees, songs that brought the stars closer and made the moon glow brighter. Oh my god, I actually kind of like that. Good job, ChatGPT. Christine's voice grew stronger, more powerful under Eric's guidance. But as the days passed, rumors spread. The other animals spoke of strange music coming from the old part of the opera house. Jealousy brewed among some of the performers, especially the proud Robin Rowell. Okay, so Rowell is a completely different species of animal. He's a bird, apparently, who fancied himself Christine's protector. One fateful night, Rowell and the others followed Christine, determined to uncover the Phantom's identity. They arrived just as Christine and Eric were performing their most breathtaking duet, a song so beautiful it made the trees weep. Rowell, seeing Eric's masked face and disfigured features, lashed out in fear. "Stay away from her, you monster!" Rowell cried, rushing at Eric, but Christine stepped in between them, her voice calm and firm. "He is not a monster. He is my friend. He has given me more than you could ever understand." Rowell hesitated, taken aback by Christine's courage. With a deep sigh, Eric removed his mask, revealing the scars he had long hidden. Why? The forest fell silent, but instead of fear, Christine looked at him with compassion. "Your heart is more beautiful than any mask could ever hide." Moved by her words, the animals around them softened, realizing the truth. Eric wasn't a creature to be feared. He was a part of their world, just as Christine was. From that day forward, the Phantom no longer hid in the shadows. Eric and Christine continued to make music, their melodies filling the forest with a new harmony. And though Christine had 3 legs... 3 legs! And Eric bore his scars. Their friendship and music reminded the world that beauty lies not in perfection, but in the heart. And so, the legend of the Phantom of the Forest lived on. Not as a tale of fear, but of acceptance, love, and the magic of music. Christine's a 3-legged squirrel. Oh my god. Oh boy. Alright. Time for another. The Llama's Lament.
A llama?
Oh my god, I'm scared. The Llama's Lament. A tale of love and mystery. In the heart of the Paris Opera House, beneath its grand stage and golden chandeliers, a creature of both elegance and sorrow, a llama named Eric. Unlike any other llama, Eric was not simply a beast of burden or a curiosity from the Andean mountains. He was a soul tormented by his past and gifted with an extraordinary talent for music. But there was a darkness within him, as there is with most llamas. Born from years of isolation and rejection, long ago Eric had arrived in Paris, far from his native home. No one knew how he had come to the great city, but the walls of the opera house had been his shelter as long as he could remember. Within the depths of the building's catacombs, he had carved out a sanctuary, a place hidden from the world above. It was here that he composed his haunting melodies, using sounds of the opera's grand performances to fuel his creations. The opera house staff often spoke of a ghost who had haunted the building, and while the opera ghost they feared was real, they never suspected that it was a llama who roamed the halls at night. From the shadows, Eric watched the performers, his heart captivated by the beauty of their voices and the grandeur of the music. But one voice stood out amongst the rest, that of Christine Daae, a young and talented soprano whose ethereal voice stirred something deep within Eric's soul. His music was a balm to his weary heart, and for the first time in years he felt something beyond the ache of loneliness. In secret, Eric began to guide Christine. Unseen by her, he whispered advice, left sheet music with intricate notations, and even sang to her through the walls of the catacombs. Christine believed that she was receiving voice lessons from the mysterious angel of music, but in truth, it was Eric longing to connect with her in the only way he knew how, through song. Remember, he's a llama. As Christine's talent blossomed, so too did Eric's love for her. He was no longer content to remain in the shadows. He wanted to be seen, to be known, and most of all, to be loved. But he was not a man. He was a llama. A creature the world would never understand. How could Christine love him if she saw his true form? Driven by this fear, Eric's actions became more desperate. He would watch Christine from the darkened rafters of the opera house, his heart torn between his desire to protect her and his fear of losing her. His jealousy flared when he saw her growing closer to Raoul, her childhood friend. Raoul was everything Eric was not: handsome, human, and accepted in Christine's world. In a moment of passion, Eric revealed himself to Christine, hoping she would see beyond his appearance and love him for the music they had shared. But Christine was horrified. Rightfully so. Though she had felt a strange connection to the mysterious presence in the opera house, the sight of a llama standing before her, with eyes full of sadness and longing, was too much to bear. She recoiled in fear, leaving Eric heartbroken. Desperate, Eric kidnapped Christine, taking her to his lair beneath the opera house. He believed that if she could only spend time with him, she would come to understand his heart and see past his appearance. But as the days passed, Christine's fear only deepened. She begged for her freedom, and Eric, seeing the pain in her eyes, realized he could never force her to love him. In a final act of love, Eric released Christine. He watched as she fled back to the world above, to Raoul, to a life he could never be a part of. Alone once more, Eric returned to his lair, his heart heavier than ever. The opera house resumed its normal rhythm, but the melodies that once filled Eric's soul were now silent. The legend of the opera ghost lived on, but few knew the truth, that beneath the grand opera house, a llama with a broken heart still wandered the corridors, longing for love that would never be his. And so the llama's lament echoed through the walls, a song of love and loss, heard only by the wind. Oh my god. That was the llama's lament. And then this one has been requested to be read last by our lovely curator for the day, which concerns me. So, this one is called Unmasking the Creator. Christine's voice echoed through the dimly lit corridors of the opera house. But it wasn't her voice that the Phantom focused on. No, something else had caught his attention. It was strange, a sound unlike anything Eric had ever heard before. It wasn't the crash of instruments or the chatter of the audience. It was a voice. A disembodied voice speaking in a language that seemed familiar yet so foreign at the same time. For days the Phantom had heard the odd sound seeping through the walls of his lair, growing louder as though the very structure of the opera house itself were resonating within it. Intrigued, he followed the sound, weaving through the passages until he found himself deep in the forgotten catacombs of the old building. There, in the shadows, a small glow flickered, a window to another world. The Phantom narrowed his eyes, stepping cautiously closer. A screen, something beyond his comprehension, showed a young woman sitting in front of what appeared to be a stage. No, a room filled with strange objects. She was speaking animatedly, her face bright with enthusiasm. Welcome back to Phantom Musings, where we deep dive into all things Phantom of the Opera. Oh my god, it's about me. Oh my god. Oh dear. Oh no. Welcome back to Phantom Musings, where we deep dive into all things Phantom of the Opera, the woman said, her voice clear. Today we're going to discuss some lesser-known versions of the story and the psychology behind the Phantom's character. Why Eric was so much more than a tragic villain. Eric the Phantom froze. His name, his story, this woman, this YouTuber, though he did not know the word, was talking about him. He felt an uncomfortable stir in his chest, a sensation he had long buried. How could she speak so casually of his pain? Yet there was something about the way she spoke, not with derision or mockery, but with admiration. Curiosity piqued, he continued watching. The YouTuber, her name was Lily, according to the introduction, talked about his life as if she knew him. She spoke of his genius in crafting the opera house, his torment, his longing for love. Her voice was soft when she mentioned Christine, but firm when she defended him from accusations of being a mere monster. He's not just some ghost who haunts the opera. Eric is deeply misunderstood. Yes, he did terrible things, but he's also a man shaped by the cruelty of the world. A world who refused to see past his mask, Lily said, her eyes shimmering with empathy. Eric clenched his fists, his heart racing. How could she understand? No one had ever truly understood him. Oh my god, I'm so invested in this. I'm unnaturally invested in this story, oh my god. Not Christine, not Raoul, not even those who called him a genius. Yet this woman, a stranger from a world he did not know, spoke of him as though he had looked into his very soul. For hours Eric watched, fascinated by this strange window into another world. Lily had one video after another, each one peeling back the layers of his story, delving into every version of Phantom across the years. Novels, films, stage productions. She analyzed his character with such care, such respect, that Eric found himself drawn to her words in a way that he had not felt for anyone since Christine. Yeah! That's right, bitches. He's mine. Oh my god. But the screen was not enough. Eric could not remain a ghost lurking behind this invisible window. He needed to meet her, to confront this woman who spoke of him with such familiarity. The next evening, as Lily prepared for another live stream. Oh, I wish I could live stream. That ain't gonna work. A new video file appeared on her computer. She hadn't uploaded anything yet, so how? Curiosity won over, and she clicked on it. The screen flickered to life, revealing the candlelit lair of the Phantom himself. Oh my god. Lily's breath hitched as the camera panned to the man in the mask, his face half covered, but his intense eyes stared directly into hers. She gasped, recognizing the setting immediately. "Good evening, Lily." The Phantom's voice was like velvet, laced with a dangerous edge. "You speak of me as though you know me, as if you understand what I am, what I have endured. I wonder, do you?" Oh my god, I'm crying. Lily blinked in disbelief. Her heart pounded in her chest as she stared at the screen, her mind racing. This had to be some kind of elaborate fan project, but the realism, the eeriness of it all. It felt like something else entirely. "Is this some kind of prank?" she muttered aloud, but no one responded. The Phantom's voice continued, calm but sharp. "You call me misunderstood. Perhaps you are correct. Or perhaps you are simply another one of those who wish to romanticize a monster." "I don't think you're a monster," Lily found herself saying, as if in response. "You're complicated. That's why I started my channel, to explore characters like you, to understand them." "Understand me?" The Phantom's voice now seemed closer. Why does this story know my channel so well? Oh god, that's creepy. What? Why? Why does... Oh, AI is scary. AI. What kind of prompts did he put into this for it to... Oh, yikes. Oh. Phantom's voice seemed closer, as if it wasn't just coming from the speakers, but from the room itself. "And what have you understood, Lily? Have you ever known true isolation, true rejection?" Suddenly a chill swept through the room and the lights dimmed. Lily froze, feeling an undeniable presence behind her. Slowly, she turned. There, standing in the shadow corner of the room, was Eric, the Phantom. Oh my god, I'm like speechless. I don't even know how to react to this. His figure loomed, his mask glinting faintly in the soft light. He was real, not an actor, not some figment of her imagination. The Phantom of the Opera was standing in her room. You can't be real," she whispered, backing away slightly, her mind struggling to process what was happening. Eric stepped forward, his movements graceful, yet predatory. "Oh." "And yet, here I am. You wish to understand me, Lily. Now is your chance." Her throat tightened, but something inside her urged her not to run. This was the moment she had spent years analyzing. The figure she had obsessed over in books, videos, and musicals. And now he was standing right in front of her. Lily took a deep breath, standing her ground. "I don't think you're a monster. I think you're a man who was hurt, who was pushed aside by the world. You did terrible things, yes, but I believe there is more to you than what people see." I don't like how well this knows me. It is very uncomfy. Eric tilted his head, studying her. "You are bold to speak to me this way," he mused. "Most would cower, yet you look at me as if I am still human." "You are," she said softly. "You're more than your mask." For the first time in years, Eric was silent, truly considering the words of another. Perhaps, in this strange new world, he had found someone who could see beyond the mask after all, and for the first time in his life, he didn't feel so alone. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? Oh my god. Okay, I see why he wanted me to read this last. What was the prompt that he used? What? Okay, I gotta ask. I have gotta ask you something. What prompt did you put in for it to generate this last story?
Which is the last, like, the read this one last?
Yes!
Why?
What? It's like...
Have you finished it yet?
Yes, it's like literally my channel, and it's terrifying.
So why are you so worried about it?
What prompt did you use to create the story? Like, what did you type in to tell it to write this?
I told it to write a Phantom of the Opera fan fiction where the Phantom meets a YouTuber that makes Phantom of the Opera content. That's why I said to read it last, because I thought it would be funniest.
Okay, but did it analyze my channel specifically? Because
Nope.
it was...
Well, I mean, I didn't tell it to do that.
Oh my god, did ChatGPT find me? That is terrifying. The character's name is eerily similar to mine, Lily. And, then it's all about a woman who basically understands him and is like very pro Eric. Oh.
Oh. So that was a good one then.
It was a good one, but it was also very creepy.
Yeah, well, you know.
Oh, wow.
And I figured that after you read that one, you'd be really weirded out, so you wouldn't want to read anymore, so that's why I told you to read that one last.
You were correct. Oh, it's so weird. Okie dokie, thank you. I just needed to know if you told it to analyze me specifically. You're gonna have to watch this part of the video or actually read what you generated because it's like literally my channel. Oh, alright friends, I think he was correct and that's a good note, very creepy note to leave off on. Yeah, so if there were ever a reason to, an example of why we should fear AI, there you go.
They're learning.
They're listening, they're learning, they know who I am. Well, let me know if you want me to keep, doing this, and if you prefer Infrikit or ChatGPT, because I am very open to doing both, even though I'm kind of terrified. Alright, friends! Stay fantastic with the pH, and keep your hand at the level of your eye.